I know that you've reviewed music albums on this show before, but I have not. And I will be doing my first review here of an entire album, and that is the newest album by Starbomb called Starbomb Boom Rise of Lyrics, which is a reference to Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, which was a very very bad Sonic game. So but it was one of the funniest Let's Plays that Game Grumps did because of how it was. So anyways, yeah, so Starbomb Boom Rise of Lyrics, for context here for how a lot of these songs play out. The band for this album is made up of Aaron, aka Ego Raptor. He does most of the rapping. Might as well call him Ego Rapper at this point. And Danny Sexbang from Ninja Sex Party, who does most of the singing, but also the other half of Ninja Sex Party, Ninja Brian, who, you know, his gimmick used to be that he was pretty silent. He never did anything, but he's actually got a lot of lines in this album.
Okay.
Which surprised me. So, because usually he doesn't say any. There was actually a joke in one of their older albums where they were like, Ninja Brian, would you like to explain copyright law to our listeners? And then it's just like 3 seconds of silence, and they're like, thanks so much. You know, like, so, you know, that used to be his thing, is he never talked. And then he does, in this album, not only does he have a lot, he's got his own skit and his own song on this album, but we'll get there. But so, yeah, so, for people who don't know, Ego Raptor and Danny, or Aaron and Dan, also make up a Let's Play channel called Game Grumps. They're the two hosts of it, where they do Let's Plays together, and they are pretty fucking hilarious, the two of them. So, for the first time in their history, because this is their fourth album, they actually did some songs on this album that were based around some actual videos of theirs, some Let's Plays. Like the story behind it is funnier when you know the context of what happened. Of course, though, they also, as usually as their gimmick, Starbomb is what I would call the Lonely Island of video games. They basically do immature comedy rap about video games, and a lot of it is them just making jokes about different aspects of the games themselves, or putting characters in certain situations. A perfect example is in their very first album. They did a song called Luigi's Ballad, where Luigi was professing his love to Princess Peach via song, and then Mario comes in and starts rapping a bunch of heinous shit and interrupting Luigi's attempts to get with Peach, and it's just fucking hilarious. It's probably one of the best things they ever did. In their last album, they did a song called Welcome to the Mario Party that sounded a lot like a famous Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre song. And this one was basically Mario rapping about all these Nintendo characters at his mansion having a party, and how Luigi's not invited because he's lame. And it was just, yeah, it was great. They've done stuff like that. They did a song about a Tetris piece being pissed off because he's the long piece and his friends only ever want him to hang out when they need him to complete the puzzle. You know, that's all. They just use him because he's the most useful piece in Tetris. So they take stupid, obscure ideas like, oh, that's the most useful piece in Tetris. What if people were using him? You know, and he goes to therapy and shit like that. So they just take the most obscure, stupid ideas and turn them into songs. At least that's what they used to. I'll be honest. This album, however, a lot of the ideas really just feel like Aaron being horny about everything. There's still a lot of sex shit here. And you know what? It's not the first time, because they actually did a song in their very first album about how Kirby sucks everything up, and they were like, what if Kirby plus my dick? You know, it's just stupid. So they've always had that stupid juvenile aspect to them, and I'll be honest, I like Starbomb, but I probably only like about 4 of the songs on every album. Everything else to me just comes across really stupid. So I might be a little harsh on some of this, but I'm going to go to each song on this album individually, because it's not a long one, and kind of give them an individual rating and talk about, and then give the album rating as a whole. And I know you listened to this, so you'll have some context for what I'm talking about. And for the folks at home, there will be a few audio clips from some of the songs to give context for what I'm talking about, because some of them, even though the lyrics are dumb as fuck, the actual music is really good. So So, they start off with just a little intro skit. Oh, damn, it's a new Starbomb. And they just kind of they make fun of themselves for thinking that they would never do another one. Because the last album, the Triforce, was supposed to be the last one. Complete the Trinity. So, it's just kind of self-deprecation. I'm not going to rate the skits because they're not songs, but that's,
Right.
So, and then, they're like, all right, now let's say our name, and out of sync, they all say it at different times, and, intentionally stupid. But
yes,
then they kick off with what might be, in my opinion, the only objectively good song on the entire album, and is my personal favorite by a long shot, and that is Pokemon Smash or Pass. Everything about this song just fucking works. The humor, the flow, the beat. I can actually understand everything they're saying. There's a lot of songs on this album where the lyrics get drowned out by the music, and it really pisses me off. I can't understand some of that. It's because the album, it's recorded well, it's mixed well, but it's not mastered well. There's some mastering problems here overall. So that's why, it's... Yeah, and it's just sometimes the way they do their lyrics. But this one, absolute gold. And the story here is there was a trend going around YouTube a while ago called Pokemon Smash or Pass, where famous Let's Players like Game Grumps and Markiplier would look at a list of Pokemon and decide whether or not they would smash or pass on those Pokemon. It was meant to be absurdist and funny. It was obviously not... No one's actually going to have sex with a Pokemon.
Right.
I mean... Well, some people might, but, not anyone sane. And...
Furries.
And, but the whole thing was just meant to be comedic, but it was a real thing that happened, and it was supposed to be like a, what makes it funny is obviously people are gonna say pass. Like I watched Markiplier do it, and he was like pass, 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 but every once in a while he would stop, and he would think about it for a minute. And then he'd be like, pass. It's just, that's what made it funny. But when the Game Grumps did it, Aaron just kept saying smash to everything because he's a horny bastard. And, that's just his thing. But with the Game Grumps, they're a yin and yang. Aaron is the immature sex joke juvenile humor one, and Dan is the more mature, he's the one that has to keep Aaron in check. He reins him in. He balances him out. It's like the Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon thing. And Dan was starting to get legit pissed about it because Aaron wasn't taking it seriously. He was just saying smashed everything. He's like, that's not how the game works, Aaron. So they made a song out of it, and that's what this song is. Dan comes up to Aaron, and he's like, hey, let's play around a Pokemon Smash or Pass. And Aaron just says smash to everything. And his line, the whole song is smash.
He's like, what about me?
And Dan
Pass.
keeps trying to... Yeah. Yeah, and Dan, the funny part here is Dan just keeps completely getting progressively more unhinged and irritated with him throughout the song. And then finally he gets to the point where he lists off a bunch of things that aren't Pokemon just to see if he'll find the one thing that Aaron won't fuck, And he just keeps saying smash to everything, including a chessboard, a bowling ball, a car, and one of my favorite parts, though, is the one time Aaron says anything but smash. I really feel like he's just trolling Dan at this point on purpose, because Dan finally gets mad and he's like, Aaron, what's the deal? And he says smash. He's like, you can't smash deals. And then Aaron says, come on, Dan, who doesn't like deals? As far as I'm concerned, I'm just keeping it real. It's fucking great. And then Dan's like, okay, let's try this again.
Gloom. Smash. Seal. Smash. Muck. Smash. Feel. Smash. Aaron, what's the deal? Smash. You can't smash deals. Smash.
Come on, Dan, who doesn't like deals? As far as I'm concerned, I'm just keeping it real.
Okay, let's go for one last round. Your shocking need to plow never ceases to astound.
So yeah, and then like you said, at the end, he's like, wow, what about me? And he said, pass. He's like the one pass is his best friend. Oh, that had to sting. So yeah, everything about that, and I fucking love the beat, too. I listened to that song on repeat after it came out. The problem with this song, though, the only problem, is that it comes at the beginning of the album, and it's the first single they released before the album, so it set my expectations for everything else way too high.
Fair enough.
Because this song, This song by itself is a 10 out of 10, and it is the only perfect 10 on the entire album.
Okay.
Hands down. So, for me, personally. Then the next song, this was also the second single they released. The next song on the album, Nintendo Online's Greatest Announcement. This is them making fun of Nintendo Directs.
Yes.
It's also meant to be a parody of the Whisper song by the Yin Yang Twins. I hate this ASMR shit. I do not like Whisper stuff. It's like fingernails on a chalkboard to me.
I could not get
it.
past this song. I couldn't.
Yeah. If you watch the music video, though, which I did, it is clear that they're doing like a Nintendo Direct, but it's like they're playing on the My Uncle Works for Nintendo, so I have insider info thing, and they're doing like a secret Nintendo Direct where he's, trying to seduce this girl with all these secret Nintendo announcements, and it's just them listing. Starbomb likes to do this thing called list songs, is what I like to call them, where the lyrics of the song is literally just them listing off a bunch of shit. They did it technically that's what Pokemon Smash or Pass is. It's just Dan listing off a bunch of Pokemon and Aaron saying smashed all of them. They actually did that on a previous album. They did a song called The New Poke Rap, where Ash has been in the hospital for a while, and he comes back out, and Brock's like, here's all the new Pokemon you missed. And they do some real ones at first, but then they start doing some real, like, stupid made-up ones. And that one was actually kind of creative, because they, like, literally came up with their own Pokemon for that song.
Okay.
But yeah, they did another one, a Zelda one on the last album called A Boy in His Boat, based on Wind Waker, where they were making fun of how Zelda games just kind of like give you way too much shit, like way too many items that you have to carry to get past stuff. And yeah, that song, it was literally just them listing all the items that he was going to need for his adventure. And then at the end, he has so much stuff that his back ends up breaking. So... yeah, so Starbomb likes to do what I call list songs, and there's an assload of list songs in this album, and this is one of them. Nintendo Online's Greatest Announcement, but yeah, they list stuff like Plurm and Super Plurm and Squark and the remake of Squark. I know this shit's real. There were a couple that got a chuckle out of me, like Mario Teaches Wiping, I thought was funny. Yeah, but the music video ends with a Nintendo ninja coming to put a stop to them, and Dan trying to fight him and getting thrown out the window, and then Ninja Brian fighting the Nintendo ninja and winning. But yeah, it's weird. All these songs have a story, which is the funny part. Then we had another skit called Brian Pitches Ideas, and this is a Ninja Brian skit where he calls Aaron and Danny, and he's like, hey, I got ideas, and he's like, what if we did the Ocarina of Crime, or what if we did the Super Mario Bros, and they whisper to each other, and they're like, yeah, these ideas are fucking terrible, we hate them, I just really want to kill this guy right now, and like, but then he does this one, he's like, what if we did a song about a government that really treats its people correctly, a true democracy that cares about the people, it was like a very, like, forward-thinking, patriotic thing and all that, and they're like, yeah, that's a good idea, we could go with that, we love it. And he was like, yeah, I'm glad you like it, but fuck that shit, because instead, let's do a song about how Aaron wants to fuck the jar from Elden Ring. And that's exactly what the next song is. Oh, by the way, my rating for the Nintendo Online Greatest Announcement song, I'm gonna give that one a 6 out of 10. I just don't like the whisper shit, but I do like the idea behind it, and I do like some of the jokes. I just don't like the way it's executed. But the next song, Kiss the Elden Ring, I fucking love the beat to this song. The chorus is like, you got me like, ooh, it gets stuck in the head, and the beat that happens in this song is, I could only describe it as the kind of like hip-hop beat that you would hear in one of those like old school hip-hop music videos where it's got like this vintage filter over it, and all the footage is like camera footage of them driving through the old neighborhood, and it's like the houses and the railroad tracks and the liquor store and the people on the porch. You know what I'm talking about? Like,
yep.
Yeah, It gives that vibes. Like, it gives like, the beat gives like, old home video vibes. And
you got me like, ooh.
has a little game and it's called Elden Ring. It's got a world and a story that is making me sing. They got
like old school hip hop, but then it comes in and it's fucking Aaron in the world of Elden Ring, where there's all of these like different attractive female characters hitting on him, but he wants to have sex. He's attracted to a fucking monster in the game that is a jar with arms and legs that picks up the putrid rotting flesh of its enemies and sticks it inside its jar hole in the top of its head. And it's so fucking stupid because it's like they know how dumb it is because they don't even put effort into the lyrics, because there's one part where he's like all of my dead enemies I put up inside me, and he's like, damn, that makes me want to be up inside you. If I let you kick my ass, could I be up inside you? Like, what the And, it turns out, I guess, Aaron is a pansexual, but the kind that's attracted to cookware. I think that's part of the joke. And then, so it's got Aaron and then Dan plays the voice of the jar in this one. But then the song ends with him going to ask the jar guy out on a date and seeing a much bigger giant monster version of that creature. And he's like, whoa, that one's bigger. I'm gonna go for that one. And then it lifts up his foot and kills him with it at the end of the song. It's so fucking... There's a music video for this one too, by the way.
Is there?
And Bandai Namco commented on this music video for this song, and all they said was, wow.
That's amazing.
That's the publisher of the game, by the way. From Software, though, the developer has not commented on it yet. This is a song where I really love the beat, and I'll admit, there are a lot of songs on this album I truly hated the first time I listened to them, despised them, but as I listened more and more... some of them started growing on me on repeat listenings. It's kind of they got like the gorilla syndrome where, it starts to, it's, the more you listen to it, the more like, you know what, now I kind of feel it now. This song is one of those for me. I hated it the first time I heard it, but on repeat listens, I'm like, you know what, it's not that bad. Kind of gets stuck in your head. It's got a good beat. The lyrics are dumb as fuck, but like, everything else about it is great. And, so I'd give Kiss the Elden Ring a 8 out of 10 individual rating for that song.
Okay.
Because I do really like the beat and how it opens. The next song, Mario a la carte, I enjoy the premise. Yeah, I enjoy the premise of this one a lot because this is about a NASCAR racer who goes into a Mario Kart race and ends up getting fucked up bad by like turtle shells and lightning bolts. At one point he gets run over, and this is another song on this album, by the way, where the beat, like the music that plays, feels really fucking familiar to me for some reason. Like, it just feels like something I've heard before. And I think they're kind of going for a Beastie Boys vibe on this one, maybe, because it's that monotone slow rap over a kind of like upbeat rock beat,
Practicing racing, he drove for NASCAR. He's a normal human being with a normal ass car. He tips his hat to Mario, they ring the mushroom cup bell. He steps on the gas. Red turtle shell. Oh no.
Oh my god!
Oh no.
Oh god!
Yeah.
Is this some kind of accident or something?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Boy, that was violent. His head is no bueno.
I'm sure it's fine.
And I love how monotone it is. And I love, one of the things I do like about this song is when Aaron goes, yeah, in the fucking chorus. Yeah, so this is another one where Aaron's doing the rapping, you could call it in this one, and Dan is the race car driver. But, this is one of those ones where it doesn't stick the landing for me because, of course, it has to end on a stupid dick joke. And that's just, I mean, I get it. It's them. It's what they do. But that shit always, it's not as bad as the next song, though. But, like, the the fact that they did that, the Candace dick fit in your mouth, like, okay, and I could have maybe been okay with that if it wasn't for the stupid Gen Z Gotti lingo at the end, that they threw in there. I know that Aaron does that shit ironically, because he thinks it's stupid, so he's doing it to make fun of it, but it's still cringe. It's still, So, but up until that point, I really like that song overall. So that one's another 8 out of 10 for me. It may be a little too short. I think they could have done a little more with it. The next song, The Biggest Dick in Hyrule, this is their 4th Legend of Zelda song in a running series that they've done on the albums, and this one is about Breath of the Wild. And the concept of this song is that the actions that Link has taken in Breath of the Wild, like raising towers and eating apples to heal and stuff, has actually caused the villagers stress. He killed this woman's family because their house was on top of one of the towers he raised, and the orchard guy, he ate all of his apples and fucking. By the way, this is one of the songs that Brian is in. He plays the voice of the orchard guy. He's like, if I find the guy who ate all my apples, I'm gonna cut off his dick. That guy, that's Ninja Brian. In this one, I thought it was Dan at first doing a voice, but no, that's Brian. So yeah, Aaron, Dan, and Brian all have lines in this, but I actually like the concept of this song a lot. Like the idea that Link's actions are causing collateral damage, because that's something I've noticed in other games too, and that he's actually having to like face the victims of his actions in this song is pretty fucking funny. He's like, I've learned all kinds of recipes, and the woman's like, oh, that's nice, I'll never feel my husband's touch again.
That was like, ooh.
Yes. And this is another one where I can actually understand the lyrics, so I like it. But this is another one that doesn't stick the landing for me, because the guys that got cholera from watching his horse, as soon as they found out that he woke up the Great Fairy, they all turn into these like Gen Z dude bros, and they're like, oh, she's fine, bro, for real, no cap. That's so stupid. And then it ends on a fucking shit joke on top of it, which I'm sure you appreciated. When they do that fart noise, I know you lost your shit. Like, I know you did, because I know you. Like that little that they did, like I know you laughed. But yeah, that's not for me. But I'm gonna give this song a 7 out of 10 though, because I do like it up until that point overall.
Fair enough.
Next song I'm not so big on overall. Krobus is Hot. What I like about this song is the tune, because of that like da 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 na 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 na. Another piece of music that I swear to fucking God I've heard before somewhere else, and I just can't quite place my finger on it. This whole album, every song on this album, the music that they use feels like I've heard it somewhere before.
Just inherited this place from my grandpa. Looks pretty chill, living simple on this little farm. Stardew Valley's gonna...
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of this one either.
But I like the music here, but the story for this one is... It's based on Stardew Valley, first of all. A lot of the jokes are completely lost on you if you don't have context from that game, which I didn't. But I'm to understand that, people who have played Stardew Valley, they get... A lot of this feels like Aaron bitching about shit about the game that he didn't like, like the Queen of Sauce and the fact that Pierre's store is always closed and his chickens died because they couldn't get the food he needed for him. But they completely deviate from all of that when he starts falling in love with a sewer monster called Krobus, and then moves in with him, realizes that he's not happy with him after all, and then kills him, and then kills witnesses to him burying him. And then the spirit of his grandpa, played by Brian, shows up to tell him that he gave him this farm in his will because he hated him and wanted him to suffer. So,
yeah,
overall, it's a pretty fucking harsh song, but it's one of those ones where I don't like the verses because it's just Aaron angry screaming about everything and making very lewd sex remarks about Krobus throughout the most thing. But this is another horny song, and this one is like too horny for me. The other ones can get away. This one is over the top. And it's a horny song that ends in murder as well.
Yes.
It's crazy. But what I like about it, though, what I do like is Dan's part during the chorus. And look, a lot of the parts I don't like about these songs have to do with Aaron. Honestly, but Dan, if you've ever listened to Ninja Sex Party, that man's got an angelic singing voice. He's got a beautiful singing voice. So his singing during the chorus of this song is like the one thing that saves it for me overall. It is it's the parts where he's like, dun dun, gotta kill Krobus, bum bum, dun 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 dun. I like that part, but the rest of it can fuck off. This song is a 5 out of 10 for me overall.
Oof.
Yeah, not feeling it. The next song though, Joy-Con Drift. This is one of they have what I like to call an angry rock song on every album, and this is their angry rock song for this album. It's not always rap with them. They always throw an angry rock song. The Tetris song I mentioned before, that was their angry rock song on that one.
Okay.
So Joy-Con Drift, the story here, though, is that, like, the dude is so angry about his Joy-Con Drift, he's writing a song about it, and he invites his friend Trevor over, played by Dan, to help him with the song, but that's where while they're writing the song, he finds out that Trevor's been sleeping with his mom, and then his friend Trevor becomes his new stepdad and helps him fix his Joy-Cons, and then he ends up liking him. He's pissed at first, he's sleeping with his mom, but then he's like, and the song slows down, he's like, hey, buddy, I know these aren't the sticks that it came with, but if we respect the craftsmanship and we'll take it apart, we'll look at it, I'm sure we can, fix it and make it work like it used to. And it's like silence for like 2 seconds. And Aaron's like, I don't got that Joy-Con Drift anymore, But yeah, it's just like, he's mad that his friend is sleeping with his mom, but his friend becomes his new stepdad and helps him fix his Joy-Cons. And he's like, all right, I love you, friend dad, who's the same age as me. This is weird, I like the story behind this one. I like the joke. I think it's funny and entertaining. The execution though, I'm not a big fan of these screaming rock songs overall.
Right.
That's not what I come to Starbomb for. So I'll be fair and give this one a 7 out of 10. Overall, it seems like it's a song you like because you keep mentioning it.
Joy-Con Drift.
Sonic's Last Ring. This is another one of the ones I actually like on this album. Sonic's Last Ring. This is a Sonic the Hedgehog song. Of course, there's one every album, and in this one, they're making fun of Sonic and Amy's relationship. They finally decide to tie the knot. They're gonna get married, but what they're really making fun of is all of the weird, obscure characters that have popped up in different Sonic the Hedgehog games throughout the years. And a lot of these that they list, like Charmy Bee, are real, but of course they throw in stupid jokes in there and like list their owns, because the idea, they start off with legit names of different Sonic characters from different games as they're making the list for the wedding invitation, but then they start doing comedic hyperbole, over exaggerating, and going into all these stupid names that aren't real, like David the Cum Stain and Steve the Toilet, and shit like that. And then the song ends with Robotnik shooting Sonic before while he's trying. Well, they're up there. Shadow is the rabbi, and he's trying to marry them, and Robotnik shoots Sonic, and he drops all his rings, and Amy gets pissed, and a fight breaks out in the wedding. And the whole end of the song is just all these cartoon sound effects of all the characters fighting each other. And if you listen closely, you can hear Sonic say chili dogs, and Shadow say chaos control, and shit like that in the background. And then the song finally settles down, and Sonic and Amy get married. And really, I think this was just an excuse for Aaron to do his Sonic voice at the end when he's like, I do. All right. Like, Aaron does a great Sonic voice. I love his Sonic voice. So this is actually one of my favorite songs for 2 reasons. One, because I love the premise. I love how silly it is overall. Yes, it's another list song, but it has a good point. There are way too many fucking characters in the Sonic games now. And on top of that, I really, really like the music for this one, because the beat is like bum, 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 while the keyboard in the background goes dun, 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 and it's just a very catchy, very snappy, like upbeat, like fun beat. I really enjoy it.
times, bad times, laughter and tears. So when he told us that he and Amy had fallen in love, we were like, oh damn, oh fuck, oh shit.
And so yeah, I'm gonna give this one a 9 out of 10. Sonic's Last Ring gets a 9 out of 10 from me.
Okay.
Next is another skit called That Feels Incredible. This is another Brian thing. It's just Brian, Ninja Brian, messing around with the soundboard. And then what's really stupid about it though is that there are moans of pleasure happening over the beat that he does there. And you know what though? I'll give it to him because this lasts just long enough. It doesn't overstay its welcome like a lot of their sex jokes do. This one's fine. I'll give this one because the beat's pretty fun too, you know. But again, I said I'm not rating the skits, so I'll move on from that one. My second favorite song on the album, and another one based on an actual Game Grumps Let's Play, Wheel of Misfortune. This, in my opinion, is by far the funniest song on the whole album. It does kind of devolve into juvenile territory near the end, but overall, it's funny to me because I've seen the Let's Play this song is based on. Aaron and Dan, Game Grumps, did a Let's Play of Wheel of Fortune, the video game version of Wheel of Fortune, and there was a round they did where Dan was having absolute shit luck one time. He just kept landing on lose a turn and really bad stuff, and Aaron was getting like super lucky, like stupid lucky, just throwing out wild guesses and getting it, and Dan was starting to get legit pissed off, and he was like, I'm just convinced this game is biased towards player one, you know, shit like that. So they decided to make a song out of it, and in this song, Aaron and Danny go on the actual Wheel of Fortune show, and Dan keeps landing on lose a turn, and his luck gets progressively worse, whereas Aaron gets the most obscure good luck you could imagine. He's like, is there an N? And there's like, yes, there's 17 N's. And I'm like, fuck you, there's no phrase in the history of humanity with 17 N's. It's like, but obviously it's, you know, it's exaggerated for comedy. And then he solves the puzzle, and he's like, is it? And like, yes, it is. And then they add different panels to the board, like we added new panels, a trip to Japan and get punched in the dick, and Dan lands on get punched in the dick, and they're like, but your letter has to be on the board for you to get it, and he's like, oh good, I'll go with a letter that won't be on there, how about Q? And he's like, there's 23 Q's. It's absolutely it's the good kind of stupid. Like, this is the good kind of stupid. Like, this is hilarious to me. And Aaron lands on a panel that is just constant good luck after the other. He's like, ooh, there's a treasure chest and a car, and NASA's giving you ownership of the moon. You know, it just goes so ridiculous. And then, you know, at the end, Dan congratulates him, and he's like, congratulations, Aaron. He's like, I wish I would have done better, but I know my best friend would never punch me. And then Aaron's like, I won, and then punches him in the dick. You know, like, you know what? I'm gonna give them a pass on that one because I feel like that's an example of them doing that and actually sticking the landing with it for once. So
yes,
this song is probably it's not my favorite song on the album because that's Pokemon Smash or Pass, but this is my second favorite and by far the funniest song on the album in my opinion. Wheel of Misfortune. So I'm giving Wheel of Misfortune a 9.5 out of 10.
Okay.
For it. Next song is Falling Diagonally. This is a Qbert song. This is about Qbert. This is the Ninja Brian song on the album. And I didn't like this one the first time I heard it, but the more I listen to it, the more I do. I really like the beat, because it's just this very low rumble beat that's like just like a boom, 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 boom. And I really like that. But what I find interesting is that this isn't really trying to be a song or a rap. It's more of a spoken interlude over a beat, and it's just Qbert getting progressively more pissed off at how shitty his life has become. And the joke here is that if you've ever played a Qbert game, when Qbert dies or gets hit, he like curses, but on the screen in little speech bubble, it's all like symbols to censor the cursing. So in the song, whenever he curses as Qbert in the song, they censor it with actual Qbert noises from the game, which I thought was kind of clever. Clever little throw in there. So yeah, but this is basically a song just about Qbert being a badass and swearing a bunch, and then all those swears being censored with video game noises. But I like the beat. it's hard to explain how the vocals are presented. Like I said, it seems more spoken interlude, but as Kubert gets more angry and unhinged throughout the song, he starts to get more loud and staticky, I guess you could say. And I do it's hard to place my finger on it entirely, but I know I've heard at least one song in my life that feels like that. Hey everyone, future editing Oversoul here. So, just wanted to pop in real quick to say that it eventually hit me what this song reminds me of. And it's a mixture of Muse and Nine Inch Nails is the sound. The beat is very Nine Inch Nails sounding. And it overall sounds like a song Nine Inch Nails would have done. But also, like, the vocals have kind of like a Muse vibe to them, you know? It reminds me of a mixture of, like, Supermassive Black Hole by Muse and, what's that song by Nine Inch Nails where they talk about wanting to you like an animal, you know? That one. I forget the name of it. But anyways, yeah. Here's a clip from the song so you can see what I mean.
I move diagonally across the screen. I avoid all objects which are not green. I jump on the squares to change their color. I'm rich as hell, but I live in squalor. I'm Kubert. I'm Kubert, motherfucker. I'm Kubert. I'm Kubert, you piece of shit.
But not many. That's a very niche kind of sound, but I give it points for its uniqueness, and it was a, Ninja Brian solo song. Okay. I'll give it a 7 on that one. I think I would have said the first time I listened to this album, I probably would have given most of these much lower scores. Like this one, I would have given like a 6, but I think I'll go for a 7 on it now. And then the finale of the album, and another one of my favorite songs, The Simple Plot of Silent Hill 2. This song is actually part of a running story they've had across every album. Every album, they've had a simple plot of song, and the gimmick of these songs was Dan hosting a talk show about video games with simple plots, and he would bring on video game characters from games with simple plots, like Frogger and Bomberman, to just talk about what they do in their game. Like, hey, I'm Frogger, and I just crossed the street and try not to get run over at the end. That kind of thing. But every time his show would be infiltrated by a character from a game with a complicated plot. The first one was Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, and the whole song is basically them rapping the plot of their game while Dan sings about how frustrated he is trying to keep up with the story, And so the first one was Cloud from Final Fantasy VII, the second one was Snake from Metal Gear Solid, the third one, Sora from Kingdom Hearts, and I should probably mention, I, on my YouTube channel, actually made the unofficial music video for that song.
Nice.
So, yep. Did
they see it?
I don't know. I don't know if they've ever seen it, but it is one of the most watched videos on my channel. If you type in The Simple Plot of Kingdom Hearts on YouTube, the second result is my video that I made. So, for that, most of their music videos, all of their music videos are fan made, and the ones there are some that they do official collaborations with people and they upload on Ego Raptor's channel, but a lot of them, if you look online for their there's a lot of fan made music videos, and most of them are hand drawn or computer animated. For mine, I used actual scenes from Kingdom Hearts for it. So,
holy shit. Yeah. It pulls it up as the second 119K views.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. So since that was supposed to be their last album, at the end of that song, the talk show got canceled. And so that was supposed to end, Dan was happy. He's like, yay, finally. But In this song, Aaron calls Dan and says that the talk show is back on, and he's like, no, I'm not doing it. And he's like, they'll pay you $5 million. And it immediately goes into welcome to talking video games. And now he doesn't care about if the plot is simple or not anymore because he's so rich. So James Sunderland from Silent Hill 2, timely, by the way, because of the remake just coming out, comes on and talks about the plot of his game. And it's the same as it is in every other song of this type from their albums. It's literally just the main character from the game rapping the story of their game and how complicated it is. But what's funny about this one is that it's from a very oppressive horror game, but the beat is really upbeat and cheery, and the lyrics, the way that he's talking, he's being very optimistic about all this horrible shit for some reason. And Dan is completely checked out at this point, so he doesn't even care. He doesn't question it, and he even says in the chorus that normally he'd be questioning all of his positivity, but he's just got so much money now that he doesn't give a fuck. Yeah, so I find that great. And I like how they touch on how Silent Hill 2 does have like 6 different endings, and everything you heard in that song, all those lyrics are actually completely accurate to all the shit that happens in the game. It's just that it's presented in such a weird way. But yeah, that's the case for all of them, too. For Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, Kingdom Hearts, and now Silent Hill 2 are the ones they've covered as far as complicated games with complicated plots that they did a song about and called it the simple plot of, to be ironic. And this song, I'm going to give a 8 out of 10 because it's not longer. I think they could have done more with it, and it ends very abruptly. Like, it doesn't really have a solid outro. What I do like, though, is that the song ends with the line, "Here we go again." And if you have the album on repeat, right after they say "Here we go again," the album starts over. So that's kind of a nice touch. What I don't like, though, is that every other Starbomb album had an outro, like an actual outro, and this one doesn't. This one doesn't have an outro. They had an intro, but no outro. It's just the end of this song and they're done, which I thought was kind of lazy. But so overall, my overall rating for this album, I think, is going to be a 7 out of 10, I think is what I landed on.
Okay.
Because as much praise as I gave a bunch of stuff in here, there's just a lot of stuff about it I don't like, too, that's holding it back. And I think the best album they ever did was their second one, Player Select. That one probably had the most consistent high quality across the board. To be honest, though, I would have given their first album a 7 out of 10 as well. The second album, I think I gave a 9, and the third album an 8. So this feels like a step backwards in terms of lyric quality and creativity, but it's a step forward in terms of music production. Like their music the music sounds professionally produced now. Their early albums had really amateur sounding music and beats, but now it sounds like studio shit. But it's like where the quality of the music went up, the quality of everything else went down. I also, though, I think they were completely checked out here and really not like super interested in making it the best thing ever. They just wanted to do it, because they could. So yeah, keep in mind they're also busy with like comedy tours and a Let's Play channel, and Dan has his own band, Ninja Sex Party, besides. So yeah, they got a lot going on, and they have a second channel called the Game Grumps 10-minute Power Hour where they do live action skits. So yeah, they're busy men.
Yes.
But yeah, it's gonna be a 7 out of 10 for me for this album overall. Yeah. What did you think overall? And I know you've heard some of their songs in the past too, not all of them.
Yeah. I liked it. I don't have a rating because I've only listened to it once. I need to give it a couple more listens before I give it a.
That's fair. Yeah, that's what I've been listening to it on repeat pretty much all week in order to have everything memorized to the point where I could talk about it. Like, some of these songs, they don't have... some of these songs I need to listen to while reading the lyrics to fully appreciate them more, too. It's hard to really get all the lyrics on a first listen. You really have to listen to it a couple times to fully understand everything being said in these songs, too. So, yeah.